Yo, Wellness Posse. Ali Waddell here. Welcome to Wellness Posse Wednesdays with my boy, Jonathan Shultz.
What's happening?
Chiropractor to the stars. Well, maybe
All
not.
the stars.
All the stars in the sky. He's a lunar chiropractor. So we're on Wellness Posse Wednesdays. As y'all know, my goal is to elevate the conversation about what real wellness is. And me and Jonathan are definitely on the same page with our wellness philosophies. So let's start with a little intro to the Wellness Posse. Who are you? What do you do? And why are you here?
Okay. My name is Jonathan Shultz. I am a doctor of chiropractic. All my patients call me Dr. J. It's Austin. If you're into the whole brevity thing, then let it happen. And I'm a chiropractor. This is a second career for me. I was an actor before I was a chiropractor.
That's why he's so good on camera.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with this. And acting was actually what brought me to this in a roundabout sort of a way. I had a mentor that was very much into the form of expression and the optimization of the physical life of actors and that kind of a thing. And that took me into yoga, which then took me more into, function and how the body and the human being could function better. Mm-hmm. And it just progressed into, eventually I was in LA and I was like, I don't even think I'm worth my carbon footprint at this point. I want to help people. I want to sleep well at night feeling like I gave something back. And so I really wanted to do something that was body oriented, that was physical, that was about function, and it progressed into chiropractic from there. So I went back to school in my 30s, and
that's always fun.
Yeah.
Too.
Get the second postgraduate degree.
Yeah. And the second student debt bill.
Yep. So now I've got more, expensive pieces of paper on the wall, but we're helping people, and that's good, and I really, really love it, man. Chiropractic puts me in a position, because the goal of chiropractic is what it is, and we'll get there in a second, but it allows me to talk to things beyond your spinal health. It really is about creating a lifestyle of wellness, and that's really what I wanted to do. Yeah. So I feel humbled and I feel blessed every day that I get to put my hands on people and they get to leave my clinic feeling better and functioning better.
Where is your clinic?
I'm actually in South Austin. I'm right next to St. David's Hospital on Bannister and Ben White. Yeah. So between Manchac and South First. Yeah,
just south of downtown.
Yeah.
Very convenient. So you just kind of gave us a synopsis of how you got to chiropractic, but is there a longer Is there a longer story behind kind of why chiropractic? Like, out of all of the different modalities you could have chosen for either hands-on work or kind of body work, what spoke to you about chiropractic?
Well, I guess I should back up a little bit before that and say that, I don't have one of these. A lot of chiropractors that you meet say, I'm a chiropractor because my son is only alive because of chiropractic, or you hear these miraculous stories. I don't have one of those. No. Like, I'm in chiropractic because I wanted to be a part of wellness. Yeah. The reason for that is I was a fat kid. Like, I was kind of smart, I was kind of funny, and I did one-act play, and I didn't have a lot of physical prowess and athleticism as a kid, and anything that I was ever really accomplished at came from my abilities to think and communicate and that kind of stuff, not from using my body. So I sort of divorced myself from my body, and I became this just fat slob, and I knew nothing about nutrition, I knew nothing about exercise, I knew nothing about health and wellness. And I realized that as I was in my sort of early 20s, like, woo, you're not doing so good, bud. And and this has happened really, really quickly. And wellness for me was a 2-decade-long sort of process away from that. Where chiropractic fits into it, like I said before, the acting was really about voice and movement training. So I got really, really into movement. I mean, even your voice, when you think about it, voice is movement. It's movement of the vocal cords with breath that creates sound. So everything that I had really trained on was movement-based. Then take that into yoga, again, more movement. And I really wanted to continue to follow along that pathway with biomechanics and structure, and when I really started looking around for, okay, what's next, it was a good friend of mine, his name is Keith Kimberlin, Dr. Keith Kimberlin, up where I grew up on Lake Texoma. He practices in Sherman, Texas, and it was my wife that said, what about what Keith does? And I for some reason, I just never considered it, but immediately when she said that, I went, that's it, that is it, because it's about movement, primarily movement of the spine, and I really wanted to make sure that was a part of my way into wellness.
Yeah. So I'm going to share a background hilarious story and how social media works and how we got connected and why you can actually use social media to actually create a real social circle.
That's right.
So I have been friends with his wife, Jacqueline. Come to find out, we went to high school together.
Yeah.
Didn't really remember her, just knew we were friends on Facebook. Then I moved back, blah, blah, blah. Then Jonathan's like, I'm a chiropractor, we should go to lunch. We went to lunch. We couldn't figure out how in the world we knew each other. I didn't know how I knew Jacqueline, but now we're really good friends.
Now we're friends, and we were just like, all right, let's just not worry about that and be friends.
Yeah, but I think it's a really good thing. Number one is one thing I love to talk about on here is like, let's tear the wall down. Number one, between modalities, like you can only talk to people within, and God forbid you talk to anybody that's your competitor, because oh no, if we talk to each other, they're going to steal all our clients. Right. And so instead, me and Jonathan really have worked out a win-win scenario with a lot of the things we do. We refer people to each other, and then we do videos and we do events together, and that there really is an opportunity with social media to actually reach out and become in real life friends.
Yes. And
even if you're not in the same place, to develop a really helpful relationship for the two of you. So I really challenge kind of everybody, especially in your field, to reach out to somebody that you completely do not know and send them a message. The likelihood is they'll go for a walk and talk with you, and then you can be besties.
Exactly. Yeah. And it works out.
And then I started to cook for Jonathan and his wife, and they did that for a while. After they have tiny human.
Yes, babies make cooking hard. I'll add on to this, because what I try to do in my clinic, and I know that you're the same, is I want to treat the person. I want to treat you as a human. You're not a spine, right? You're not a digestive system. You are a person.
Yeah.
There's all parts of you, and a real wellness lifestyle, a prevention-based lifestyle, encapsulates all pieces of that. And guess what? I can't be an expert at all of that.
Yeah.
I don't know the things that you know. I can't program exercise routines for people. I can't cook like you do. I can't do those things that she does really, really well. So instead of coming at it from some scarcity mindset and saying, no, I don't want to get involved because there's not enough clients for us all, just try to open up your imagination a little bit and say, my patients need what she does too, and probably what other people do as well. And rising water raises all ships.
Completely.
So if we're getting people well, which is the goal, then everyone wins. And that's the philosophy that I think we're both really working with here.
Yeah, and you notice it, and you just put one person in a different community that's not exposed to kind of our wellness modalities, or one person in a family, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I talked to my aunt and she's feeling so much better, so now she's coming. So it really is not about, we actually grow exponentially every time we put out our services to people. And if you really view this as kind of a community to kind of make the community healthier, like we're a community within a community, so we're both part of the Austin Wellness Collaborative, and that's also been a huge, yes. Ashley was on last week, and she's amazing.
Right. Yes.
So let's just talk about what is kind of your general wellness philosophy when it comes to working with clients.
Okay, as a chiropractor, obviously I'm going to start with the spine, right? I view what chiropractic as a foundation of the wellness lifestyle. It is not the end all, it is not the be all, it is not the only thing that you need to do. It is a great place to start. It is not the only place you could start, but for me it's foundational. So I believe that a wellness lifestyle is specifically about transforming toxicity and deficiency into purity and sufficiency. I believe that every one of us Homo sapiens sapiens, right?
Yeah.
With virtually identical genetic makeup, we need roughly the same things. Now, there are specifics to each individual, but that's a little bit. And then there's this whole bit that, like, every plant needs sunlight and water and healthy soil, and we get that. And humans are largely the same. So I say, let's look at all of the areas of your genetic needs and make sure that your needs are being met and that there's not anything in there that's poisoning the well, that's decreasing your function. So from a chiropractic standpoint, it's about movement. We're back to movement again. If your spine moves well, right, first, you don't have degenerative arthritis to worry about.
Yeah.
Secondly, you decrease your stress response, which takes, chronic inflammation and all of the other host of things that does to you off the table. And thirdly, it optimizes the function of your nervous system, which then facilitates increased function globally on the whole thing. Now then we go beyond that, and I try to say, now we need to look at what you're putting into your body, because the body's rebuilding all the time, and do you want to work with shit, or do you want to work with brand new good lumber from Home Depot, or wherever the good wood. I want the good wood. Yeah. And certainly movement is beyond spinal motion, right? So let's talk about your ergonomics. Let's talk about what you're doing for physical fitness. Let's talk about all of that. Mental and emotional well-being. That's a huge part of this, man, and that's a part that I think so many of us out there aren't getting. We don't have this.
Yeah.
We have this, and there's always technology between us and those people that we need. And we need to get our hands on each other and bond as humans. Yeah. And help each other and love each other. Man, what Texas did after Harvey really shows that spirit is very much alive in us. We are tribal animals.
We are tribal humans.
And that, you have to have it.
Yeah.
And beyond that, there's the messy conversation of environmental toxicity. Yeah. And what are all the things in the environment that we're just indoctrinated to say, that's okay, don't worry about that, that's fine. That now later, decades later, we realize, oh, that's really bad for us. Yeah. So how do we get that stuff out of our lives and replace it with things that aren't in fact harming us? And so that's where I start. I'm going to start with your spine and your posture, and then as you stick around and become a patient, right, we can talk about these other things. And that's largely where I bring in my helpers, my other friends and practitioners that are in my community to say, you need a little more specific help, I'm going to send you over here, and we're going to do that.
Yeah. I know that some people are wary of chiropractic for a few reasons. Some, just like every profession, there are crappy practitioners of every single profession. And so certain professions get bad raps because they're quacks, they're crazy, whatever, or one person got hurt.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
One person got hurt. So for those people that are nervous initially of even thinking about chiropractic, number one, can you kind of break that myth a little? And then number two, if somebody hasn't been to a chiropractic appointment, how would kind of a first appointment go? Like, what could they expect?
Okay, yeah. I do know that's pretty prevalent out there, and there's a lot of reasons for it. I mean, the American Medical Association waged a war on us for the better part of a century. Yeah. Because what we did worked, and it was inexpensive, and there were virtually no side effects from it, and they went, ooh, we don't really like that. So they tried to discredit us, and I will give them some credit about it. The reason that we're called pseudoscientists and quacks sometimes is that for a long time we had a really hard time demonstrating what we were saying about what we did with science.
The studies just weren't there for a long time.
And now that has changed, but still you get these people that are indoctrinated with these ideas of quackery and pseudoscience that haven't been exposed.
Just like climate change.
Just like that. They haven't been exposed to the data, and they haven't really looked at it. So they're ignorant on the subject. And you should know that I do not use that word as a pejorative. There's nothing wrong with ignorance as long as it's not willful ignorance. If you just don't know, you don't know. Yeah. So that's fine. But when you have these staunch opinions and go, no, this is the way, even though I don't know what I'm talking about, that's where we have problems. That's where ignorance can get us into trouble. So one of the big things that people say that they worry about with chiropractic is this issue of stroke. We'll talk about that, since I don't know if anyone heard, but the Playboy model last year that died, or maybe it was earlier this year, I don't know. Stroke is a very, very, very rare possibility that happens after chiropractic adjustments. There is no evidence that chiropractic has a causal relationship with the stroke. There is a correlative relationship with the stroke, which oftentimes there's also a correlative relationship between them seeing a medical doctor as well.
Yeah. Or working out.
Or whatever it was. So, you know, like this Playboy model, she was at a photo shoot and the guy had her hold her head back and turn and looking over her shoulder for like 6 hours, which stretched her vertebral artery and put it in a weakened position. There was something that happened over there. The unfortunate thing is, once there's a problem with that artery, most of the time it presents as neck pain, and that's why people come to see us. Yeah. So she went to the hospital first, I think, and then she went to her chiropractor, and then a few days later went back to her chiropractor, and then it was like the next day after that the artery finally ruptured and she passed away. And it's a tragedy, and I feel horrible for her little girl and her entire family. Life is life, and it is beautiful, and I don't want to minimize that. But it's impossible for us to say that what that chiropractor did caused this woman to die. The statistics are staggeringly low. I mean, it's like 3 every billion adjustments times this might happen. And I mean, you could take that same stat and look at people that walked into a hospital and how many strokes followed, and it would be way more than that. Yeah. So if you're concerned about it, you know, you should, first of all, you do need to have a good feeling about the doctor that you're working with. There are ways that we as practitioners can look for those. There's signs and symptoms that if something's going on with the vascular system up to the brain, that is an indication that we do not need to adjust the neck. And a good practitioner should be looking for those things. You can't always find them, though. I mean, it's like anything else. You got up this morning and you drove your car to work without any thought that the statistics are way higher than 3 people dying every million car rides to work. We do that stuff all the time, but for some reason chiropractic has gotten kind of blown up on that. It's incredibly safe. If you really want to know how safe it is, my malpractice insurance, I spend about $1,500 a year.
Which I'm telling you, go talk to your OBGYN and ask them how much
how much theirs is a year. I mean, and listen, if people were dropping dead and getting hurt of this, it would be astronomical, and there would be lawsuits, and you would hear about it. But that stuff largely doesn't exist. The world is not a perfect place, and if you're going to get in the kitchen and cook, some eggs are going to get dropped on the floor once in a while. And again, it's tragic, but it's not the norm. It's not really what we do. Yeah. So people always think, you know, they're like, I just don't want you twisting my head and my neck around.
Yeah. And they're nervous about
the popping. So let me just tell you what the popping is. So I want you to picture a 2 liter of Coke. Don't drink that Coke. It's bad for you. But I want you to picture it in your head. When you look at it, it doesn't look like there's bubbles in it. It's just liquid in there. But there is suspended CO2 gas in liquid form in there. Yeah. And it's not until you go and you change the pressure and you make space for that gas to be liberated from that fluid that you actually see all those bubbles. The same is true with your joints. Every joint has a capsule around it, and the volume in there and the pressure in there is typically pretty constant. So you've got this synovial fluid that lubricates and nourishes and removes wastes from the joint. Well, when a joint is stuck and it's not moving, that's what chiropractors look for. We look for, it's called subluxation. That is a misalignment of a joint. It causes a decrease in motion in that joint and also causes interference with your nervous system. When we find that, we put a force into that joint. We gap the joint, we're trying to make space in it. As you've got a sealed system that then we create more space inside of it, it creates a vacuum inside that, and it sucks nitrogen gas out of that synovial fluid, and pop, you get this little pop of gas in there, and then it goes right back and gets redissolved, and everything goes back into it. And the hope is The body then repositions those bones exactly as they need to be. Movement is freed up, nervous system is freed up, and we can all go about our lives. They did some really cool testing to show these little bubbles being made in finger joints, and they also, during the same little study, they dispelled the myth that popping your fingers will give you arthritis. That is not true.
Oh, that's good for me.
You can pop away. You can do everything you want with those fingers. But it's just you're liberating gas from fluid. When we do it in your neck, I'll be perfectly honest with you. When I first went to chiropractic school, I'd had some chiropractic care, but I'd never been a chiropractic patient very regularly. And as soon as you get in chiropractic school, they're like, you need to be in there according to whatever schedule. You know, you get an intern, and you're gonna and like you're gonna do this. And it took me a couple of months getting one or two adjustments a week to be able to say, this is okay, I don't need to help, I'm a helper, right? So as soon as they pick up my head, I'm just like, where do you want it? I'll put it over here for you, I'll do it. And they're like, no. All that creates muscular tension that gets in the way.
Yeah.
Usually when chiropractic adjustments hurt, that's why. There's tense muscles in there.
If you're trying to fight it or help with it.
And either way doesn't make it better.
Yeah.
So if you are concerned about that, just practice going to your happy place. Like find your little nugget of zen and carry that into the chiropractor's office with you. And when they get that head in your hands and are about to adjust your neck, let go. Shut your eyes. It's okay. You're going to be okay. There's going to be some popping. And I know you've seen Rambo and Commando like rip people's heads off and kill them, and that's not real. That's fake. That's Hollywood. It would take so much more strength than anyone I know has to break all those ligamentous and tendinous insertions and the bony structural things that prevent excess movement.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes some massive trauma to do damage in a way that ends someone's life.
Yeah.
So those little adjustments that we're getting, they're fast and they're short. And there's not a lot of force into them. It's mostly the speed that helps us get the adjustment that we need. So it's very safe. It's gas being liberated from fluid, and as long as you can chill, then good. And if you're not in a doctor's office that you can chill with, then find a new one.
Yeah.
I tell everyone, I don't need to be your chiropractor. I just need your spine to be cared for by someone.
Yeah.
So, you know, if for whatever reason, something in my office or my location or my hours or my scheduling or something just not right for you, then maybe this isn't the office for you. I'll help you find someone that works better, because I want you to relax and receive. That's what it's about.
So when somebody comes into the office, what is your kind of intake process? Like what would a first
visit be
look like? Yeah.
New patient exam in my office is very thorough. I've had a lot of people come in and say, this is the most thorough investigation I've ever received in an office. I don't know. We do a really extensive history because I need to know about any and all past traumas in your spine, obviously. For me, and there's a lot of chiropractors out there that are different, I don't have a big problem with adjusting people on the first day. Many do. Many will say, no, I want to view x-rays on you and make sure that there's nothing structurally going on with the spine that would prevent us from being able to work on you. I get that. That's a very, very good point. Most of the time, that's not the case.
Yeah.
I mean, the vast majority of the time, that is totally not the case. If there's some kind of trauma or past trauma or major neurological symptoms that there's things that we can look for to tell us that might be the case. But again, I have to do a very extensive history and consultation with you to find out what are your current symptoms, how long have they been going on, how often do you get them, how long do they last, right? All of that's valuable information for us, and we will go through each and every one of your complaints. It's never, I have low back pain. It's, I have low back pain, mid back pain, neck pain, headaches, and then all this whole host of organic body stuff.
Yeah.
My anxiety, depression, my
Yeah.
colitis, and it's like, okay, there's a lot to work with here. But what we're looking for, or what I'm looking for, is to figure out whether or not you are a good candidate to receive an adjustment on that first day. I like people to walk out of my clinic with an adjustment. When I go to the grocery store, I like to leave with groceries, and I just feel like that's, call me crazy, but when people come to me, I never like sending them away without what they came there for.
Yeah.
And so, usually after that first adjustment, people feel a lot better, and I get it. There are chiropractors that say, well, I'm worried they'll feel better and never come back. Well, if that's the case, then
good job.
Then
High five, we did it.
That's where that person is. If
Yeah.
they just wanted to feel better, then okay, they got what they wanted and they had a good experience about it, and they'll come back when they want it again.
Yeah.
So I just try to meet people where they are, but we do a lot of neurological testing, orthopedic testing, physical testing. I palpate each and every joint in your spine. I palpate your muscles. I want to know where your spasms are and where things are locked up and moving well and moving not well. And then I tell you, okay, we can either adjust you today or we can't. Now, I do want to see x-rays on most everyone. If you tell me, Doc, I'm not doing x-rays, I don't want them. Okay. Ultimately, I'm guessing about what's going on in your spine. It's an educated guess, and I know a lot by feel and by what you're telling me, but I have not seen it. I have not objectively identified this with data that's irrefutable. I cannot, for instance, bill or code you with a diagnosis that tells us this came from x-ray, because we had to demonstrate it was there, not infer that it was there.
Yeah.
So, I think that x-rays are a very valuable starting point for everyone. They give us objective data. Because here's the deal. Let's say you like what I do and you become a regular patient, and in a year,
you wish you would have.
We want to x-ray you again. Well, how do we know what we did? We don't have a baseline. So it's just scientific, it's just data.
Yeah.
And people sometimes are resistant about it. But I usually send people out with an adjustment if they're safe. I tell them, go get your x-rays. I'm about to be able to take those x-rays myself starting October 1st. I'm going to have an x-ray machine in my own clinic, which is great. And then I invite you back. And I say, on the second visit, we're going to go over your x-rays. I'm going to tell you everything that's on there. I'm going to allow you to ask the questions you want. I'm going to tell you everything I found in my exam. And I'm going to tell you what I think you need. It's my job as your healthcare provider to tell you what I think is best for you. And then I'm going to invite you to tell me what you want to do. Because not everyone is in a place in their lives where they want to commit to something like that. And spinal correction is a commitment, folks. You need to know it. Your spine didn't get jacked up starting last week.
Yeah, in 2 30-minute intervals.
Right. So correcting it is a process, and there is no physiological process that does not take time. So, if people really do want correction, if you want to improve your posture, if you want to change your subluxation pattern permanently, that takes a commitment of time. And if you're not there, then let's talk about how to get you feeling better, right? And give you the chiropractic that you want, and then let you come back as you need it. And there's both types of people walking around out there, and I have them both that I see, and I want you to have a good experience, because I know a lot of people have also felt pressured by chiropractors to do something that wasn't
sign up
good.
for 2-year program
and that would be great. And do I think everyone could benefit from that? You're damn right. But does everyone want that? Absolutely not. So I try to be accommodating in that respect.
Yeah. So besides chiropractor, what are kind of your top few things that you feel like everybody should implement in their life to kind of have them thrive and kind of live their best?
Kind of the low-hanging fruit.
The low-hanging fruit that most people can do.
This right here. This is my dedicated water vessel, and it needs to be marked in some way with ounces so that you can measure the amount of water that you're putting into your body every day.
Yeah.
Rule of thumb is half your body weight in ounces. I'm
50 to 60% of your body weight.
I'm 210 pounds, so 105 ounces is going to get it. If I get a gallon, great. If I don't, get 105 ounces, right? Something like that. But I know, based on this, that I need roughly 4.5 of these. So then you got to figure out yourself a dose. Stop trying to sip water all day. You'll never get there. I know that I can drink half of this at one time. So I need half of this immediately when I wake up. I need another 1.5 of these before I eat my lunch.
Yeah.
I need another 1 of these in the afternoon. I need, and then you can have your dose of water throughout the day to make sure that but you can't track what you don't measure. And if you don't have something with the ounces on it, you won't know that you're doing that.
Yeah. I actually, this is very interesting. So I've always been a really good water drinker. I gave up soda for the New Year's Eve resolution of my 21st when I was 21, and I haven't basically had a soda since. But ever since then, I've been great at drinking water. And then my current boyfriend, he doesn't drink plain water. He drinks sparkling water. And I actually never really drink sparkling water. But what I found is it made me stop drinking my normal water.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't feel good. Figured out I'd been dehydrated. So I actually downloaded an app on my phone and it sends me reminders. But I have a large, I think mine is 36 ounces, giant water bottle. And it's been so helpful, and I've been doing it for about 3 weeks, and man, I feel generally really a lot better. Awesome. And it's a preach thing that I've always preached about water, and for some reason I got out of the pattern of doing it.
Right. Because
I've been drinking like sparkling water, and it's very hard to drink the amount of ounces you need to drink of sparkling water, even though LaCroix is delicious.
Delicious.
I'm sorry, LaCroix coconut. Come on with it.
I'll say this: we have the LaCroix at my house as well. I don't mind my patients drinking these, and I tell them that's fine. But make it like you wouldn't drink a beer all day long.
No,
right?
exactly. This is like good for. They don't drink alcohol now. This for dinner.
There you go. It's something other than water. It's something special. It's a treat. It's nice. But this is what you need.
Yes.
This is what the genes are requesting on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So your body's 70% water by weight.
Yeah.
It's like chiropractic in that there's nothing that won't function better if your spine is moving well. There is nothing that won't function better if you are properly hydrated. Now get ready to pee, folks, because every 45 minutes I'm in there.
I have to front load my water drinking because otherwise it interrupts my sleep, though.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Yeah, if you don't want
I actually have to front load and actually not drink as much water.
Don't try to catch up after
because
dinner.
Otherwise, mommy is not getting her sleep, and
Correct.
that's not good for me.
Correct.
So you have kind of a very holistic approach to wellness, as do I.
Yes.
So, but what are kind of those, maybe in the chiropractic world, but maybe in the general wellness world, what are those conversations that you wish more wellness professionals are having with their clients that maybe you don't hear? Kind of what is that other conversation you wish was happening?
Yeah, there's a couple. One, I wish we were more frank about the fact that health only comes from one place, inside. It does not come from external forces, which is what largely Western medicine would have us believe, that I have this symptom, I take this pill, and I'm better. Well, no, what you've done is silence the symptom that is your best friend because your body's telling you something's wrong. It's
data.
Yeah.
Again,
it's
data.
like taking the battery out of your smoke alarm at night when the fire alarm goes off. You're not okay to go back to sleep. It's not, you need to find the fire and put it out.
That is a great analogy. Just because you take the battery out of your smoke alarm does not mean there's not a fire.
No, you would call someone crazy if they told you to do that, but we do it all the time with drugs and surgery. We silence the symptom and go right on doing what we kept doing, and then we wonder why the wheels fall off the bus a few miles down the road.
Yeah.
So health comes from one place, above, down, and inside out, right? And you are programmed. Your innate genetic intelligence is programmed to be 100% self-healing and self-regulating if your environment is correct. So the problem is not you.
Yeah.
You're the answer. Your genes are the answer, largely. I mean, there's genetic mistakes that happen, and people have genetic disorders. Largely, they're rare. But most of the time, it's the environment that's the problem. Mm-hmm. So if we can clean that environment up, your body's already got everything it needs to be perfect. Yeah. I wish we'd emphasize that a little bit more. I'm also a little bit different in the fact that And maybe I'm just, I don't know, maybe I'm just kind of hardcore about things. But because of that, I focus a lot on what is universal.
Yeah.
And healthcare, in modern healthcare, the buzzword is individual. It's about what your specific needs are. And let me custom tailor this thing for you. And I think that's great. I think there's a time and a place for it. But to me, I go, it's the genetics conversation we had before. 99.9% of my code and Allie's code are the same. Mm-hmm. And in that 1% difference in there, it's like, well, if we're focused on that, what about this? Mm-hmm. So I would love it if we could all just agree to say, well, let's take everything off the table that's universal, and let's be consistent and repetitious with that for a certain period of time, and allow the body to benefit from it as it will.
Yeah.
And then see what the specific needs of the individuals are. But I feel like we skip that and just go right to supplementing and and there's all this stuff, and it's like, well, maybe some of that could have been taken care of with a universally beneficial human wellness paradigm package thing.
What do you feel like those broad strokes of that 99% are that are like?
Eat well, move well, think well, avoid toxicity.
There we go. Sum it up, guys. I mean, I'm very big.
I can't take credit for that. You're going to ask later about books, and I'm going to mention this guy. His name is Dr. James Chestnut. He's a huge. I consider him to be a mentor. I've never met the guy, but he made me the wellness practitioner I am because of his. And that's what he says: eat well, move well, think well. I added avoidance of toxicity. I mean, it's a part too, but
yeah.
That's the broad strokes.
Yeah, I completely agree. So on kind of the same line as that, what kind of wellness myth do you wish you could kind of finally get rid of, since it's 2017 and there's still a lot of BS floating around the world?
I wish we would stop talking about that fat causes fat. That's a big one. Like, and listen, I know, and again, I know that there's the science is there. You could point to studies both ways, but fat's not bad for us largely. I mean, that we need dietary fat. We don't put cows into a feedlot and feed them fat to fatten them up. We feed them grains. Yeah. You know, and so we get it with plants, we get it with animals. We can't apply these things that we know to ourselves. So that's kind of one. Quit demonizing the fat. Another one is that we can exercise our way out of poor dietary habits. It's not...
Or terrible lifestyle.
Yeah. Right? Or that you can sit on your butt at work and not get up from the time you get there until the time you leave, and go sit on your couch until you fall asleep that night, and ever do anything else that would negate all of that.
Yeah.
You know, so...
And your 45-minute workout on the treadmill is going to fix it.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's better than if you didn't do it,
completely
for sure. I'm not trying to tell you to skip the treadmill.
Yeah.
But there's other parts of it, right? We have to do more all the way throughout our day. Mm-hmm. And the other one is that we're somehow separate from the natural world. We're wild animals living in captivity. Look at this, what we're in. We're in this cage. We're in this zoo.
Yeah.
We belong out there with the trees and the rocks and the sunshine, and we are divorced from that. Mm-hmm. And I think if we really looked back at how our hunter-gatherer ancestors behaved, that it provides a really crystal clear blueprint for us about what types of lifestyle behaviors are good for us. And then you can compare that with what we have now and see the difference.
Yeah, on that same note, another connection that we really had was about being in the environment and the importance of getting out in the environment, hunting your own food, preparing your own food. So will you share a little bit of that around your philosophy around that, around what you hunt, why you hunt, how you kind of view that side of your life? Because I think it's very interesting, and the more and more I'm getting into bow hunting, my boyfriend is a big bow hunter and a fisher, and I found it so empowering to be able to, I mean, I've raised animals pretty much my whole life, but to be able to really raise your own food, or to go get your own food, and how that really connects you and brings you gratitude for like what that actually means.
For what it is, yeah. Because, I mean, we are not, again, you go back to hunter-gatherers, we're not designed to have a refrigerator right next to us when we wake up with plenty of food. We are designed to wake up and expend energy before we then put energy back into us. Mm-hmm. We hunt and we gather for those things. This is a tough one for me because I have so many facets of my life. I mean, at one point I have this yoga practice and a very spiritual practice at that. And there was an Ayurvedic man that I got a reading from one time, and he put it really best. He said, we talked about meat, and I said, I eat a lot of what I hunt. And he went, that's great. And I went, whoa, I wasn't expecting to hear you say that. What do you mean? Because he was purely vegan, and but here he was kind of celebrating that. And he looked at me and he goes, what higher purpose could an animal ever, aspire to than to feed the life of a man and his family that are seeking enlightenment? And I just went,
oh my God, isn't that
hit me
beautiful?
in all the feels, man. Like, right, it's okay. So, she's right. We don't need to divorce ourselves from where our food comes from. I think that's part of the problem, that we don't grow our own food. We don't look for it. We don't know how to go out, and there's all these urban gathering stuff where you can forage mushrooms in parks and things like that. And that information has largely been lost on us. But when you have to go out into the wilderness and either catch a fish or shoot a bird or bring something down or find it in some way so that you can harvest that. And I don't usually like the word kill. I like the word harvest, because it is more of that vibe. Then you're in control of it. For one thing, we've taken the money and the power out of the giant ag industrial complex, which has no consideration for your family's health and well-being whatsoever. Yeah. And in another thing, you get to control the way that animal was treated. And every time I harvest an animal, we hunt deer largely, and every time I do that, I love to go over to the animal and I say a little blessing over him, and I just say, thank you. Thank you, brother, for giving your life that my family can be fed and we can go forth and try to make this world as good a place as we can. I know some of you out there think that's the craziest stuff you've ever heard in your life and a little bit woo-woo, but that's okay. Right? Yeah. Because there is a spiritual and an energetic part of all of this that binds us, and largely that is beyond what science can detect and measure, but it's there. If you've ever had a moment with another human being that really changed you, you know that's there. And
with an animal.
And with an animal, absolutely. So I think that first of all, the meat you're going to get from the wild is going to be so much more chemical makeup that your genes are looking for. The omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acid balance, just that. You eat all the small game, the squirrels, the rabbits, the birds, those things, because man, that stuff is just loaded down with omega-3s, which is so good for you. But it's just it changes the way you look at the food cycle and system, because you're then connected. You're a part of that, not just a consumer of, right, but a part. So I love that part of helping provide for the family. And fishing too. God, you want to talk about meditation. Go sit in a tree before the sun comes up and watch the world wake up. Go sit in a boat with nothing but a fishing pole, and then you have to create puppetry of this thing with hooks on it in order to fool another living thing into putting it in their mouth.
Which is really smart.
In order to be successful. So, those two things, they really anchor us back to where we came from, I think.
I completely agree. One of the things I like to kind of end our conversation on is discussing and kind of pulling us wellness professionals off of our golden pedestals of wellness down to real life, and talk about that we're not always in alignment, and as much as we try to help and preach and share our knowledge, that sometimes we also struggle a lot, because we're human, just like everybody else, and we have real lives. And so I like everybody to kind of share a specific example of when that happened, and how do you feel like you could get yourself back in alignment with kind of how you want to be.
Okay. She mentioned making little humans earlier, and we just did that again.
You did.
So Gemma is about 5 months old. She's a little over 5 months old. And we had Hudson, he's almost 3. So we were feeling like, hey, we got this. I got this all figured out. And then whammo, you get hit with this second little life, and now everyone's got a kid at all times, and your life goes way upside down, and we didn't know which way was up or down or anything. And there was a period there of, I don't think I worked out or did anything physical for 3 months solid. And we were calling her like, you gotta cook us food. We don't have anything to eat. There's nothing to eat. And, just like, okay, I got it. But I'm trying to run a business, and my wife is, the way we treat our new mothers in this country is so, I get so irritated about it. You're only allowed 3 months of maternity leave, and so she's the whole time trying to figure out breastfeeding and bonding with this life that's dependent upon us, but I've got to go back to work soon, and we were a mess. And we literally did, I mean, we didn't go all overboard and start drinking a bunch, and we, you know, it wasn't that kind of a thing. It's just we were not doing our food prep like we were. So during the week, our choices were not as easy as they had been. So we didn't always make the good choices. Like I said, the workouts were just out the window. And I'm just now getting back into a point 5.5 months later where I'm exercising regularly and I've figured out a schedule that works and that kind of a thing. But I think the main thing to remember is this, man, there's nothing in this universe that isn't rhythm, and it's a sine wave. Yeah. So guess what? When you feel like you're really kicking ass and you're way up at the top of the peak, you better look and enjoy that view, because the trough is coming, my friend. Yeah. And when you're down in it and it doesn't seem like it can get any darker, you're right, because guess what? That peak is coming. All you have to do is recenter yourself, look around and say, what do I have the bandwidth for now? How can I make that? And it's just like when my wellness journey started 2 decades ago. Yeah. What's the one change I can make today to be better? That's the cool thing about wellness. That's the great thing about your genes being designed to function perfectly when the environment's right. Because if you change one thing, you're better. You have to be. Yeah. And if you change another one next week, you're even better. And it's never about a goal. It's never, perfection doesn't exist. Homeostasis is a fictional thing, completely. Right? That we have to have a goal out there to shoot for, but it's, you don't ever think you're going to hit it. You just have to do everything you can in every moment that you can that works for you. And at some point, let some stuff go. We stopped cloth diapering this time because
it was getting crazy.
It was crazy, and we were about to kill each other over the poopy diapers. And it was like, okay, this is done. We are out of this. Yeah. Is it the best choice for our family? No. But is it going to allow us to be a family? Yes, then do it. Yeah. So there's all, you do as much as you can, and when you figure out I can't do any more, then that's great. Then hang out there. Yeah. And at some point, you may need to take things off your plate. Life's going to keep happening, and you just got to be you, and you got to participate with that ebb and flow and that rhythm.
Yeah, I completely agree, because there's something, like, people think, oh, I'm going to get well, and then it's all going to be easy. And I'm like,
I hang out there. Nope.
Good luck with that.
Sorry.
But I say, like, this is the longest long game you have. Yeah. This is the 80-year plan. So let's just get on board, because guess what? You're going to get your ass kicked. Something's going to happen. You're going to get hurt. You're going to lose a little.
A hurricane's going to drop millions of tons of water on your city. And what do you do then? How do those people keep a wellness lifestyle? It's the last thing on their mind. Yeah. And guess what? All of us that are sending supplies down there, do we need to go and buy the Honest Company diapers for them? No. Buy them Huggies. They need something. They need more diapers, better, not more expensive. You know what I mean? So you just got to recognize there's moments in your life you got to let it go.
Yeah. And don't sacrifice good for best. Like, that's what I always say. Like, people are like, well, that's not the best I could do. But sometimes good is plenty. Yes. And maybe good is all you have right now. And don't not do anything because you can't do the very best thing you can. Let's just do the next good thing, and then the next, just make the next best decision you can. If you can't do the absolute, if you can't go to the farmer's market and buy all local organic, I'm telling you, if all you can do is buy frozen vegetables, way better than zero vegetables. Like, whatever we're doing.
But people will do that when they'll come up in a stressful time in their lives, or they'll come up with some a challenge, and then sometimes it's like, well, I've got to get rid of everything. I'm going to do nothing. And it's very, I won't say never the right choice, because I just gave you an example with the hurricane where that might be the right choice. But you always have to make the best choices that you can at that time. And the best choice may not always be on that list. Yeah, exactly. So, but do what you can when you can, and repeat.
Consistency is also way more important.
Yeah.
Than that very optimal choice.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather you choose less optimal that you can be consistent with,
you can maintain,
than like every 2 weeks I can do this one thing that's perfect.
That's right.
Like, go for 15 minutes every day, then go for once a week for an hour.
Right. It's like adjustments. There are people that come in and say, I just want to get adjusted a lot in the next 2 weeks. until I'm out of pain, and then I'm going to disappear again. And I say, well, there's more to it than that, and you could do it this other way, but if that's what you got room for, great. And then there's those other people that say, no, I want to come in and continue to be adjusted, and they never have that sciatica again. And they never, right, their headaches, they never have more than 1 a month anymore instead of 5 a week, you know, or something like that. And so it's just about where you are and making that best choice for what you have the bandwidth for. There's no shame in your game. There's no judgment. Just be real. Be honest with yourself. What can I do now?
So now it's time for the wild. Oh, I said it wrong. Hold on. Let's try it again. Wildfire Wellness Round.
Yes. Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. Okay. So let's talk about. No, this shouldn't make you nervous. All right. So some of your favorite wellness books, professionals, podcasts, data sources.
Okay. I already mentioned Dr. James Chestnut. He's got 2 books that will just. I'll be honest. The first one, the second one just came out. First one's called The Wellness and Prevention Lifestyle by Dr. James Chestnut. It's so well referenced, and he's all about the universal nature of our innate genetic intelligence, and it's so cool. The other one he just published is called Live Right for Your Species Type, which I love, right?
That sounds interesting.
So he's bringing it back to the fact that how much of this is universal that we can all do. But he just nails it, and he grew up kind of an ecologist and a naturalist, so he was looking at the body as an ecosystem, right? So that's kind of how he's a really amazing guy, and I like that. So those are 2 books. You know, I like, and I take these with a grain of salt, but I like what Mercola does, and I like Dr. Josh Axe.
Yeah.
Both of those guys on their websites have some really great information. They have some kooky shit on there. And look, you need to give it the sniff test. If it works for you today, okay. If it's like, I don't know about that, then delete.
Yeah.
But you can find a lot of good stuff, and I think both of them have some really good information. But sift it out. You know, you got a bullshit colander. You know, you just it's like just panning for gold.
Yeah.
Figure out what's the gold and let the sand go away. But both of them are good. Another one that I really like, kind of an online source, is Robin O'Brien. She's really about the food industry and rethink food and that kind of a thing. And she's a blogger, and you know, she's got a lot of very good information too. I try to read as many studies as I can. I try to read as many articles dissecting studies and that kind of a thing. I don't read as many books as I would like to, but I have a couple of kids, and you know, if I'm not reading it on my phone as I have time,
pajama?
I don't know when I would sit down with a book, but I hope there will be books in my future. There were books in my past, and you know, but in the meantime, I think there's some good information. I like those 3 sites.
I like it.
Yeah.
Do you have a morning or an evening routine currently? Or if you didn't have tiny humans, would you have a morning or an evening routine?
I have a morning routine, and it's dependent upon whether my son Hud wakes up with me at 6 a.m. So I like to wake up. I like to give myself a lot of time before I leave the house. So if he doesn't wake up, I can go sit alone for even a few minutes. Look, meditation doesn't have to be a 30-minute thing. You don't have to go in there and like kill it. Like, you don't have to rock the meditation out. Sit down for 2 minutes, take 10 deep breaths, and move on, and you will benefit mentally and physiologically from that. So if I can sit down for a few minutes and have a few deep breaths and center myself and prepare myself that way for the day, that's great. Otherwise, I like to make my matcha green tea with a little coconut milk in there, and I like to start prepping food for the day. I like to make sure that the family is going to be well fed, and everyone, we have coolers that all 4 of us take with us out into the world, so that we know we have good choices along the way. And so, you know, I like to get in and heat the food up and, you know, put it in the containers and do all that stuff. From that point, usually everyone else is up, and it's just about spending some time and, you know, wrangling. You got it. Seeing if I can get the Mickey Mouse back on the television or whatever it is this morning. In the evening time, you know, the evening time, it's just when we can get them both to sleep. It's just about my wife and I spending some quality time together, and you know, that's something that I'll say. Here's my wellness tip for families and for parents. You and your wife, or you and your husband, or you and your partner. That's what the family is really about. That's the foundation of it. And I think we are too eager to drop all of that and let the kids become the primary focus. Don't lose that bond. Don't lose that connection. Find time each and every day to connect, sit down, slow down, hear your spouse or your partner, and be with them energetically, physically, whatever it is. So we try to do that at the end of the day, and that's lovely.
Yeah, that's something that I've talked to a lot of clients and friends about is, you know, when you're first in a kind of bonded relationship, y'all are here, y'all are at the top of the pyramid, and then life goes under you and you're gaga in love. And then you have kids, and the sad reality is, in most of the Western world now, is that then the kids bunny hop above the parents.
Above everything.
They become the center of the universe, and so everything has to do with them, and then this relationship falls off.
Yep.
And a lot of times it actually turns into kids, mom, dad,
Yeah.
and mom is now kind of up with this, and dad a lot of times is kind of like, thanks for your sperm.
Yep.
Well, I mean, that's just kind of the sad reality that I've heard from men and women alone. And then that bonded pair breaks apart.
Yeah.
Your kids get older, and then you go, what the hell? I don't even know
What
who
happened?
this person is that I'm with anymore. As opposed to making your primary relationship, y'all are the force that is holding everything together, and that your kids are underneath that. And that is actually the healthy way to actually live, and that's how it was in a tribal community.
Yeah.
Is that they were always the number one, and kids realized their place in the family was the next, and that y'all are together as a force, and that they are
a part of that,
completely in love,
yes.
apart from your relationship. And so I really love hearing parents say that, and I do know a number of families that is how their family unit is run, but sadly it feels like the majority is kids above all else. Of course, I would give everything for my children, and they can have whatever they want, which creates an unrealistic expectation from both your partner and your children.
We book time twice a month. We every other weekend we go out and we leave the kids with a sitter, and we have date night, and we need that.
Yeah, and you get some delicious food.
And we get some delicious foods.
And have some
all over town. That's right.
So, what is your spirit animal?
Oh man, I think my spirit animal's a black bass. I'm gonna be honest with you, a delicious black bass.
A black bass.
I think they are like I don't know, man. They're so cool. They're so muscular, and they're predators, but they hunt really cool. They just sort of chill and they look like this nothing fish until something comes close enough, and then they open their mouth so as it sucks this other fish in, and they swallow it whole, and then they just go back to just like, what? I love it. I'm so into the black bass.
That's awesome. I love it. If you could have a T-shirt with a saying on it, what would it say that everybody had to wear?
That everyone had to wear?
Or, you're trying to spread your message. Maybe it's only selected people who get to wear it.
A T-shirt with a phrase on it
or a billboard.
Or a billboard that everyone could... It's inappropriate.
That's okay. I'm inappropriate.
But this would be a T-shirt that this is the message. I'll give you the message that I give to myself a lot.
Okay.
And I think we would all deal with a dose of. I wouldn't put it on a T-shirt or a billboard because I would never say it to you.
Yeah.
I would just encourage everyone to say it to themselves once in a while. Let's just shut the F up. I need that, and I'm going to threaten. I'm going to STFU right there so that I can look down once in a while and just listen, and just be. Not in my head, not about to speak, but just hear, experience, be. And be the last to speak. Yeah. And this is reserve just let things happen before you jump right in there. I think we would be so well served to just be observers more than we allow ourselves.
Very stoic. That's a very stoic philosophy, actually. What is your superpower?
Oh man, it used to be, when I was a younger man, I had Wolverine healing factor. I can swear,
Really?
you could watch cuts heal. It was ridiculous. That's gone.
I am no longer Wolverine.
Yeah. So, is this like a superpower that I actually have, or one that I want?
I like either one.
You
People
know,
answer it either way.
I don't know that I have any other. So I can rattle off movie lines like
Oh, that is
crazy.
a pretty good one.
Yeah, we could. I got my buddy Carl Hart. If he's watching, we can have a whole conversation in movie quotes. And,
Really?
yeah, I mean, it's awesome. But if I had to choose one that I could, I'd have to fly, man. I'd love to fly.
Wouldn't that be so fun?
Yeah.
What advice would you give to your 16-year-old self, and what advice do you think your 90-year-old self would give to you currently?
Whoa, that's a good question. To my 16-year-old self, I would say, you're not all that you think you are, buddy. You need a little dose of humble pie.
Yeah.
I don't know that life ever gave me humble pie. You know, like a lot of people have been served it and said, "Here, eat this."
Yeah.
I sort of I'm still like very much in the process of figuring out, like, hey, I have a really sort of bigger opinion of myself than what I should. So I wish I had started that journey probably a little earlier. And then 90-year-old self, to me, would probably say, just quit worrying about getting it right and get it done.
Yeah.
I do fall into that trap a lot. I have that stagnation that comes with, well, it's not right yet. Stop that. Just get it done.
Recovering perfectionist?
Yeah, just go. Just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's officially the end of our conversation. He made it! He's
Made
so
it.
good on film. So, share with the Wellness Posse what's coming up for you, how they can reach you, any final thoughts?
Okay. So, like I said, the big news in my clinic is moving. We're moving right next door. So
Yeah, not very
we're
far.
Not going anywhere. We're down. I'm in Suite 111A. We're moving to 110A. But it's triple the space. I'm gonna have an X-ray machine in there, which is great. So I can do all of that in house, and I think I'm gonna be able to serve more people and serve people more efficiently in that way, which I'm really excited about. You can find us, the website is www.ffchiro.com, as in Family First Chiropractic.com. Facebook, Family First Chiropractic South Austin, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. I'm on all of those.
He has a great YouTube channel. He makes videos. How many videos? Do you make a video a week?
I was making 2 videos a week, and I'm now paring that back as it was a little much.
Okay.
So we're gonna start doing one, and we're gonna do a live video every Thursday now. I was doing a prepared video on Tuesday and a live video on Thursday, which is too much. But and that's where I do a lot of the wellness education that's beyond chiropractic, and I think people need that information. So I'm going to keep doing it, and those all get put out onto the Facebook page too. So if you want to like us and follow us on Facebook, you'll get that stuff. Coming up, there's a lot of great events. This weekend, I'm doing an event for the Om Nation Expo. It's over at Nature's Treasures on 35. I'm speaking about spinal hygiene at 4 o'clock if you want to join me there. Every third Thursday of the month until it gets too cold, I do my Stand Up for Health, which is a health talk on stand-up paddleboards out on Lady Bird Lake, which is very, very cool. I'll rent you a paddleboard for an hour if you'd like to do that. Just give me a call. So this will be next Thursday. I think it's the 21st is the next one, but I got 20 slots. So the first 20 people that call me, and my patients are always welcome to come as that as well. And then we do Walk with the Docs.
That's super fun.
Every Saturday that I don't have another event, like this Saturday I can't, but next Saturday I will. We meet at 9:30 down at the hike and bike trail, and we just walk. It's just about community building. It's about getting outside. It's about getting some exercise. Bring the kids, bring the dogs, bring whatever. Let's all get out there. And in the meantime, you have access to a healthcare professional. Then bring me your questions, bring me your concerns, and we'll talk, and I'll see if I can help you along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This was a ton of fun.
We always have fun.
We do.
Okay, thanks Wellness Posse. I'll see y'all next week.
Thanks, y'all.